Plexus, I had no social media strategy. I had never made a reel and had, thank goodness, never heard of a niche. And I went diamond that way. And I always like to remind people that 99% of jewels in this company have also reached that rank without being social media influencers. Because like my good friend Sherry Harbridge has told me, and I love this quote, network marketing has existed long before and thrived long before social media ever came onto the scene, right? But a few years after Diamond, I got curious. Instagram was popping off and I thought, maybe that is what I need to reach the next level of success, right? So I'll spare you the details and I'm hoping to save you from the long, hard journey of that pursuit. But I actually was able to figure it out. I did it. I grew to nearly 100,000 followers. I had the viral reels and all the things that came with that. And I thought, I've made it. Until one day it hit me. Do you know how much that follower account, those viral reels, actually grew my Plexus business, the reason I had started it? Hardly at all. And it wasn't just myself that had this experience. I have several of my own brand ambassadors and VIPs that have way higher followers than I do. And they have seen the exact same thing of it not equaling this immediate success that you think it would. Now, that's because I believe, this is my discovery, that network marketing, we do not need the same results as influencing, right? Network marketing is powerful because it's built on connections, person to person, not having a large following account. It's built through shared values and shared trust. So I believe that our collective frustration with social media, and maybe why you feel like you've been struggling with it, I know I was, is because we've been trying to win at the wrong game. We are not supposed, as network marketers, our goal is to be connection creators, not content creators. And when we make this shift, social media gets really fun again because we know our purpose and our power in that space. So are you ready to make it fun again? Make it something you enjoy?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're gonna dig into. So with that thought in mind, this is what I want, this is the picture I want you to have in your head every time you show up, you open Instagram, you open Facebook. Social media is like showing up to a party, all right? And your goal at that party is to connect and make friends. Now there's 3 different types of people you can choose to show up as. The first would be that showstopper. She spends hours trying to look perfect, curating the perfect outfit. That's what she puts her time and thought, her appearance. She wants to be admired, but she doesn't actually have real connection, right? I can tell you, I have tried to be that person. And it's really difficult because it's not authentic, right? The second person is the wallflower. Now maybe you are that person in this room right now. You're online and you want connection. You want to have interaction, but you stand by the punch bowl, right? You never walk up and say hello and virtually shake hands because you think you gotta be the showstopper to do that. So a mind game there, right? And then the third is the connector. She walks into the room warm, present, and kind. She doesn't need to be the center of attention. She just wants to meet good people. She shakes hands, asks questions, she listens, and she probably leaves with the number of a new friend to meet up for a play date later, right? That is the version that we as network marketers get to step into. Because that third person, that's the one who's not trying to perform, but just show up. So we get to do that. That's the image I want you to hold in your head. So here's 2 ways to be social on social media. We're gonna dive into both. I've got so much to cover, but we're gonna try to get through this. So take fast notes and screenshots, okay? The two ways, the first is posting and interacting. Now, personally, I believe that interacting is the most important, but posting is where we can kind of get in our head. So we're gonna try to walk through that together and then get to the important stuff. All right, so with posting, and I'm gonna really talk about Instagram because Facebook is more easy to connect on, but this can translate over to both. With posting, I want you to see this stark distinction between a niche and a personal brand, okay? Because a lot of stuff you'll see online, if you try to listen to people selling courses on social media, they're not talking to a network marketer who wants to connect. They're talking to someone who is trying to sell a course or an item. Remember, what we are trying to sell is our ability to believe in you, to believe in the other person, right? So that means we need to put ourselves out and to have a personal brand. It can, based on us. So we're gonna dig into how to do that. I'm gonna ask you a series of 3 questions next. And we're not gonna spend long on this by design because I want you to write down the first thing that comes to mind, okay? Watch your friends next to you. If they're overthinking it, stop them. All right, here we go. So to build this personal brand, you're gonna have this brand template. Now, I want to reiterate here, you are not gonna post as a niche but just like that social media room, when you walk into the space, you look like the same person you did last time. That's why you wanna have a strong brand pillar form so that you can always be looking like virtually the same person every time someone comes across your content, right? Okay, so we're gonna dig in. Here's your 3 questions. Number 1, the first pillar of this foundation, of this template. What is your role or identity? Now, this is the thing, the first thing that comes to mind when someone says, so tell me about yourself. Now, for some of us, we might say, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've got 4 kiddos. That would be me. Now, maybe there's some people in this room, you are a mom, but maybe you're a mom of older kids, and so that's not how you would introduce yourself. Maybe you would say, well, I'm a health and fitness coach. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you're asked that question? Second pillar is your lifestyle or your interest. So this is how you fill your days, how you show up. What are your hobbies? What are the things you enjoy that you are around all the time? So for me, that would be cows. Now that might sound silly and ridiculous, but I've somehow built this brand around cows to where a lot of you will send me cow reels and cow photos because they make you think of me. But that helps you know something about me, which makes me more familiar to you, right? So what are your things that fill your day? The third is your tone. Now I want to pause here for a second because I think this is where we can start to compare ourselves to others and lose our authenticity, okay? So your tone, and it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to say this, is the way you project who you are and what you have to offer and connect with. So for example, my tone is very happy and joyous and bubbly. Now, I used to not like this about myself because people would call me cute, and I don't know about y'all, but I hate being called cute. It makes me feel like they're little girl, and I was told that all of my life. And so I would try to project something that wasn't really me until I started owning, like, that's how the Lord made me. I'm cute and bubbly, that's okay, right? Whereas my mom, Diamond Ambassador, Lori Bradford, yes, she's amazing. Wouldn't be here without her. Thank you for being the one. She is really knowledgeable about health. She's an educator, right? Her tone is very authoritative. Like when she speaks, you want to listen because you know she's gonna give you some amazing health knowledge, right? So that's her tone. So I shouldn't try to be her. She shouldn't try to be me. If you're in this room, and I know some of you personally, and you're quiet, and you're gentle and you're soft, and you might call yourself an introvert, that is a gift and that is your tone. So own the way you show up with that, okay? All right, so we're gonna pull this all in, take a quick screenshot, and you're gonna make your brand statement. Once again, not a niche, but how you know to show up online. A brand statement. I am, fill in your identity, who can often be found, the things that you love or do, and I show up with gentleness. I show up with authority. I show up with education. I show up with joy. What is the way you show up to help others? Now this message part, this can get a little tricky, but I want you to think, when your friends are talking about you and they say, yeah, she's a stay-at-home mom, she shows up like she's so happy, she loves cows, and she's all about blank. What do they say you're all about? Because that's just this golden thread that ties all your posts together. It gives your posts a purpose that feels unified. So that's the goal of that. All right, so here's a few examples. I'm not gonna linger here, but if you wanna take a photo and take this back so you can kind of digest this and what your goal is here. And if you're not sure if you got it right, ask your best friend, right? They'll tell you. And if you're not sure what you bring, ask your best friend. They will tell you. Here's an example of mine. This is my brand statement example. We kind of went through it. Mama 4, farming, joy, and then I want to show up around building a strong, connected home. So all of my posting kind of has that vibe in it, at least that's the goal, right? And then the other thing about this is that your brand should be visible. And what I mean by that is that brand statement, if I spent a moment scrolling your feed, would I absorb that? Would I go to my mom's account and see someone who educates with health because